Hey there, movie fans! What you're looking at might resemble your grandma's living room after a particularly wild St. Patrick's Day party. But believe it or not, this is actually movie magic in the making. We're talking about the raw, unfiltered, behind-the-scenes world of visual effects. You've seen the finished product epic battles, mind-blowing creatures, explosions that could make Michael Bay jealous. Get ready to have your mind blown and your expectations lowered as we reveal the truth behind the magic. Alright, let's kick things off with a real crowd pleaser, a cinematic masterpiece that had everyone and their grandma flocking to theaters. We're talking about a little indie film called Avengers Endgame. Yeah, that one. The one with the giant purple guy who collects Infinity Stones like they're Pokemon cards. But before Thanos, before Iron Man's heartbreaking sacrifice, before Captain America finally got to slow dance with Peggy Carter, there was, well, this. A whole lot of green, a whole lot of awkward standing around, and a whole lot of wondering if anyone on set actually knew what was going on. I mean, seriously, look at this. It's like they just dropped a bunch of actors in a giant green box and said, all right, go save the universe. But hey, that's the beauty of movie magic, right? They take this hot mess of green screens and awkward poses and turn it into a cinematic masterpiece. It's Avengers Endgame. 1 minute, it's actors awkwardly shuffling around in front of a green screen. The next minute, it's a mind-blowing spectacle of intergalactic warfare. So next time you're watching a superhero movie, take a moment to appreciate the unsung heroes behind the scenes, the VFX artists who make the impossible possible, because without them, we'd all just be staring at a whole lot of green. Alright, moving on from the world of spandex-clad superheroes to a realm of dragons, political intrigue, and enough bloodshed to make Quentin Tarantino blush. That's right, we're heading to Westeros, baby. Specifically, we're taking a behind-the-scenes peek at the Battle of Winterfell, that epic clash of ice and fire that had everyone on the edge of their seats. Now, I'm not going to lie. Even in its raw, unedited form, this scene is pretty damn impressive. You've got hundreds of extras, all decked out in full medieval battle gear, charging towards, well, a whole lot of nothing. Because this is Game of Thrones, and in Game of Thrones, nothing is often a stand-in for a giant, fire-breathing lizard. Or an army of the undead. Or in this case, both. But even without the dragons and ice zombies, you can still feel the raw energy, the sheer scale of this battle. It's a testament to the actors and the crew that they can create such a believable world, even when they're surrounded by nothing but green screens and the occasional coffee cart. From this sea of green to a battle for the ages, VFX brought Westeros to life. You guys deserve all the awards, and maybe a lifetime supply of dragon glass, just in case. Okay, strap in, folks. Because we're about to go from the medieval battlefields of Westeros to the cold, unforgiving vacuum of space. We're talking about Gravity, that suspenseful space thriller that had everyone holding their breath and wondering if Sandra Bullock was ever going to get back to Earth. Spoiler alert, she does. But not before enduring a whole lot of zero-gravity shenanigans, most of which, as it turns out, were filmed with the help of some very creative rigging and a whole lot of imagination. Seriously, watching this raw footage is like watching a behind-the-scenes documentary about Cirque du Soleil. You've got Sandra Bullock suspended in the air by a complex system of wires and harnesses, looking equal parts terrified and bored. It's a testament to her acting skills that she manages to convey the sheer terror of being stranded in space while simultaneously looking like she's about to fall asleep. And let's not forget George Clooney, who, despite being tethered to a giant mechanical arm, still manages to look effortlessly cool. But here's the thing. Even though you can clearly see the wires, the harnesses, the green screens, it doesn't matter. Because the raw emotion is still there. You can feel Sandra Bullock's desperation, her will to survive. And that's what makes Gravity such a powerful film. They took this jumbled mess of wires and turned it into a breathtaking, terrifying, and ultimately hopeful journey through space. They took the ordinary and made it extraordinary, proving that sometimes the most believable special effects are the ones that are grounded in reality. Alright, let's be honest, we all knew this one was coming. It's a movie about a giant lizard fighting a giant ape. What's not to love? I mean, the title practically screams visual effects extravaganza. And trust me, Godzilla vs. Kong does not disappoint. But before we get to the epic city-smashing, the bone-crushing brawls, and the sheer awesomeness of two cinematic titans going head-to-head, let's take a look at where it all began. A soundstage that's way too small for either of these behemoths. Seriously, watching this raw footage is like watching a behind-the-scenes look at a particularly chaotic kindergarten play. You've got actors in motion capture suits running around, pretending to be creatures that are, let's face it, slightly larger than life. You've got stunt performers being flung around like rag dolls, probably wondering if their hazard pay is enough. And then you've got the guy in the Godzilla suit, who, let's be honest, looks like he's about to pass out from heat exhaustion. But here's the thing, even though it's all very clearly fake, there's a certain charm to it. There's a sense of fun, of childlike wonder, that you don't always get with big-budget blockbusters. It reminds us that at its core, filmmaking is all about imagination, about bringing impossible creatures and worlds to life. And sometimes, all it takes is a little bit of green screen and a lot of heart. They took a guy in a rubber suit and turned him into a skyscraper-sized radioactive lizard. They took a bunch of ping-pong balls and turned them into a city-destroying brawl. They took So Bad It's Good and turned it into actually, this is kind of awesome. And that, my friends, is the power of visual effects. They can make us believe in giant monsters, in epic battles, in the impossible. Alright, last but not least, we're going back to the future. Or is it the past? Honestly, with The Matrix, it's hard to tell. But one thing's for sure. This movie revolutionized the world of visual effects. Bullet time, wire fu, that creepy digital rain. The Matrix single-handedly changed the way we look at action movies. But before it was a groundbreaking cinematic masterpiece, it was, well, this. A bunch of actors in black leather suspended in midair, flailing around like they're trying to swat flies. Seriously, watching this raw footage is like watching a behind-the-scenes look at a particularly intense yoga class. You've got Keanu Reeves looking appropriately stoic as Neo, Carrie-Anne Moss kicking ass as Trinity, and Lawrence Fishburne. Well, Lawrence Fishburne just looks cool no matter what he does. But even with all the wire work, the green screens, the obvious stunt doubles, you can still feel the energy, the intensity that made The Matrix such a game changer. And that's the thing about great filmmaking, it transcends the technical aspects. They took a bunch of wires, some green screens, and Keanu Reeves' best woe face, and turned it into a mind-bending masterpiece that redefined action cinema. And let's be real, who hasn't tried to dodge bullets in slow motion after watching this movie? Don't lie, we've all been there. And there you have it, folks, a glimpse behind the curtain of Hollywood magic. From superheroes to giant monsters to mind-bending sci-fi, we've seen how visual effects transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. So the next time you're watching a blockbuster, remember, you're not just watching a movie, you're watching a masterpiece of digital illusion. Sometimes all it takes is a green screen and a whole lot of creativity to transport you to another world. Hit subscribe for more VFX secrets and drop a comment if you guessed all the movies right. Until next time, stay magical.